I go by the motto of like I make art for the sake of making art. I'm not here trying to make this profound message in the long run, especially in my earlier stuff, which was a lot more still lifestyle driven. But right now with the story, like the stories that I'm developing, like this guy right behind me is just it's a little more story driven. When you look at the piece, you're going to see, okay, there's characters, there's movement going on. What's that? But I never like to tell the viewers of the art, like, this is the exact story that it is, and you don't see that in there, then you're wrong. I like leaving that stuff up for interpretation because it's always great to see how others interpret the art because it might be something that I didn't specifically see in the long run.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius.
And welcome to the Tiberius Show today. And I'm your host, Tiberius Boy. And as always, we're looking at various jobs and how they affect the world around us. Today's guest is a professional artist, a content creator, and the internet's own Philly art dad. Do you have any idea what a professional multimedia artist does? Well, I mean, I've got a feeling, I think that we're gonna stitch together that answer, you know? So, you know what? Let me just introduce our next guest. The one, the only, the amazing Michael Weaver!
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you again for being on the show.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you are listed as a full-time multimedia artist and content creator. So, for my listeners that might not know, what exactly does that mean?
So yeah, as a multimedia artist, I'm an artist in its general sense of the term. I paint, I draw. Specifically, what multimedia does means is I tend to take two or more different types of mediums and mix it together into a single painting. So for me, I do acrylic paintings. I got back there. Got it. My camera's flipped, so I got to figure that out. But yeah, and then what I do is I like to use actual traditional embroidery techniques on top of it to give it a whole different level of creativity that not a lot of people think of. And as far as the content creator side is, a lot of people I think know what content creators do on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, Twitch. Um, it's mainly as the for the artist side of things, it's about marketing myself as an artist and putting myself out there, though I tend to take it a little bit differently and throwing a bit of educational content in there too for artists, new, old, middle of the career, a lot of that stuff that's going on.
So, how did you get started in art? Was it something that you always wanted to do?
I wanna say pretty much, yeah. I read through your questions, and I know we're gonna get to one of these, but I was introduced and very much, um oh, what is the right word? My love of art was garnered very early on by an amazing, teacher I had back in elementary school, and it set me down the path of wanting to pursue art in some way, shape, or form. It initially started as me wanting to be an art teacher because I wanted to emulate what this person did for me. But it was certain set of circumstances where job availability wasn't there, and I got to go and pursue art as a career with galleries, shows, things like that. So it's been a crazy fun journey so far.
So, your art mixes acrylic paint with hand embroidery. What was the first time that you ever tried stitching on a painting?
So that was back in college. I had a non loom fibers course, and we were tasked with an embroidery lesson, just playing around with it. And instead of doing the traditional, like, here's an embroidery hoop, it's me just do some fun embroidery on it. I had a bunch of old prints from a printmaking class back in college, and I'm like, let me see what I can do. So the first was actual printmaking because the nice thing about college and taking art classes there is I can do so much and explore so much to find what I really love. So I was like, let me try to embroider on this, see how it turns out. And it was great. I loved it. It stuck. I did like 3 more pieces of that in college. And it became just a continual through line through my art. And I've explored multiple mediums in my artistic career from like graphite pencils, watercolors, finally settling on acrylic as my main body of work for my main body of work right now.
So I saw that you've been creating art professionally for more than 15 years. What's it like to do it full time now?
It's a lot different. Um, Doing the part-time trying to squeeze in the time was always a struggle, but now that I actually have full time in the day, I it feels like I have less. It's weird. I have more time, but it feels like I have less time sometimes because being a professional artist is not just about the creating of the piece. There's so much more between emails, marketing, website maintenance, things like this, talking to other people. Like I do regular live shows on TikTok as well, where you can find me from like 10:30 to 12:30 Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Plus I do Twitch and YouTube lives. And that stuff takes time away from the actual creative aspect of it. So it feels like I've got more time in the day, but almost less time for painting. But I make it work. And I achieve my goals and I achieve my deadlines, which is very important.
So your works often combine bright colors with detailed thread work. What inspires your style?
So the biggest inspiration I had, again, going back to elementary school and one teacher, I was introduced to in art history to Georgia O'Keeffe, who was a big influence in my work. Loved her work, loved her style. I got introduced to her Santa Fe era, where she lived out in Santa Fe and pretty much just painted skulls. And pretty much what I do now too. I take it a little different. I do my own thing. I used to do a lot of still lifes, like this guy right here. Like nice
Ah.
still life with skulls. I did a lot of mushrooms. Like you can see some of the embroidery on here because, like I said, it's been a constant through line. But now, like with this guy, we're doing more character based work because I wanted to tell different stories and I wanted to actually like just do something different. So I found a new way to took what I love and what I was doing and put a new spin on it.
Okay, so being an artist sounds all creative and serious. Please don't eat the paint. So,
Don't drink the
really,
paint water. Definitely don't drink the paint water.
so is there room to be silly and experiment when you're making your art?
Absolutely, there's room to be silly and experiment. One of the pieces I currently have working on is a collaboration between me and my 3-year-old kid. I let him have one of my panels that I used, professional panel, and I just let him attack it with paint, have fun, paint on it. And I'm now taking that piece that we worked on together that he created and I helped him, and now I'm gonna actually be painting a traditional like one of my actual pieces of artwork on it. And it's fun and it's been a nice way to not take the work I do super seriously because I feel like sometimes I get stuck at a point where I want to do it and I just get stuck in my own brain. And having that fun and having that play that I get to do with my kid has been such a game changer in the long run of my creativity. So I'm excited to see where it takes me.
So, speaking about, the child, your bio says that you were also a stay at home dad for a while.
Yeah.
How does being a parent influence your art?
You prioritize time. Nap times were my saving grace because that's when I could actually paint and do the work that I needed to. It's definitely made me a lot more time conscious and actually doing the creativity. Again, I had deadlines and stipulations with nap time. I only got 2 to 3 hours a day, so now that he's in school now, it's been a little like I said, if I have more time, but it feels like I have less because now I got to fit more into that larger time frame and I don't have those stipulations. But I think like I said, the biggest part for me about being a dad was just watching him explore the world for the first time and getting to experience all this new stuff in a new way, like taking him to the gallery where I show work and watching him experience art uh, has been amazing and just everything. We go to Please Touch Museum here in Philly, and one of his favorite places to go is the art studio they have, where they just let him run wild with supplies, and it's been a fantastic way to experience stuff that I already knew in a new way with him. So it's been fantastic.
Okay, so what's one project that you've worked on that made you go, wow, I can't believe I get to do this?
Uh, Probably would be the centerpiece painting I did for my very first solo show at Arch Enemy Arts Gallery. Got to call them out. They're my hometown gallery here in Philly. And they were the one that really gave me like my first big shot as an artist and actually brought me on as a regular showing artist with them with group shows and then my actual solo. So putting together that body of work, like 7 pieces over a year, was fantastic. But the centerpiece was my biggest piece to date, which was 24 by 36 inches. So 2 foot by 3 foot. And it was just, this was a big piece in my current style at the time, and it was great. And we got to take that, make prints, and then I even took those and made hand embellished prints, like one of a kind prints for those. So that was a really great. Being able to finish that was amazing, and it was an also fantastic, I feel, accomplishment overall with my creativity to reach that point. And of course, it was right after that piece that I started to change and evolve into more of my character-based stuff, like you see behind me. So,
So, what qualities do you think separate a good artist from a great one?
ooh, I always love to say that the act of creating, the act of painting, drawing, whatever, that makes you an artist. I think we all have opinions on, stylistic choices. Um, I have gotten into many arguments about, artists that I like, but the most impassioned arguments are more so about the artists I don't like. But that's all subjective to the individual. Like I might not enjoy the artwork of this specific artist, but I know a lot of people enjoy that. I think the one driving consistent action of an artist that makes them a great artist is the ability to not give up what they are doing. Consistently just showing up to do the work, and make something, and then also to just put it out in the world because I feel like there's a lot of people who draw and create and keep it to themselves, but being an artist and being able to showcase it to the world, that's what separates the professional or great artist from just the hobbyist who is doing it for themselves and themselves alone.
So, what's the funniest or most unexpected thing that happened while making art?
I learned just recently with the collaboration piece I'm working on with my kid. I learned really quickly that tempera paint and acrylic paint do not mix well. It had a chemical reaction that I had to save. Luckily, I saved it. Nothing actually happened. I was just like, why is this paint coming off as I'm trying to seal it in? And lo and behold, because of the two different styles of paints, um, it had just a whole mess of issues. Luckily, I took a step back and I let it cure and everything, and I was able to save it. It was just like good to know. Next time I do this, I'm going to give the kid acrylic paints if we're going to do a collaboration again.
So, what is one thing you think kids should know about doing the work that you do?
I think it's important to know that while obviously the creating and like the painting, the drawing, whatever medium you do, that's the main part about being an artist. It's not the only part. There's a lot more to being an artist. Like I said earlier, like you are a business person, you are running your own business. You are the only one doing that. So you are the producer of the work itself. You are your marketing team. You are your social media team. You are your sales team. You're running a website. You're shipping orders. You're packing orders. It's a whole production. You end up working with a lot of people, creating aspects of that too, like prints, stickers, T-shirts. There's a lot more to it. So don't just go into it expecting to just be like, I'm going to paint all day and have a great time. You're not.
No, you're not.
You There's a lot more.
Well, here seems like a good time to take a quick commercial break. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
So you want to make an ad for your company, right?
Yeah, Tiberius, you want to help me?
Okay, so what's the name of the company?
PPWND.
PP what?
Professional Pressure Washing and Detailing.
So you like clean driveways?
Yeah, like that. We pressure wash commercial buildings and semi-truck and trailers.
So how would someone get a hold of you?
They can visit my site at ppwnd.com or call me at 407-900-7793.
So I just tell them to call you at 407-900-7793 or visit ppwnd.com?
Yeah, Tiberius, you got it.
Cut. That's a wrap. Just use that.
Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
And we're back here talking with Michael, Philly Art Dad Weaver. He's a full-time multimedia artist and supports online mentor. So I think that's really cool. So Michael, how long does it take to create one of your embroidered painting artworks from idea to finished piece?
Oh, it really depends. Sometimes, like, I can knock out a piece in a few weeks if like the idea is just I'm clicking with it and everything's going, I'm firing on all cylinders. And sometimes, like, I might feel like I have just the best idea in the world, and the piece takes a month or two, depending on how my brain space works. And the sad thing is, I never know going in which one it's going to be. So I got to play it by ear, which is why I always like to, whenever I do, make sure I have pieces that I am working on for specific shows or galleries. I always make sure I have ideas planned out well in advance to accommodate my own mental state and well-being at the time.
So what kinds of tools or materials do you use to do your work?
So I'm a painter by trade. So the painting portion, as you expect, brushes, panels. I forego actual canvas paintings. I actually use wood panels as a lot of my main substrate for painting. Um, but everything from, like, there's just ease of life things like specific paint cups that help me clean my brushes better, a wet palette that helps preserve paint in the long run. And then I have, like, a specific brand of needle that I really enjoy. But one of, like, I guess the most surprising art tool that I use is my trusty DeWalt drill. Because, like I said, I embroider on wood panels, so I gotta put the thread through somehow.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Okay, so when making art, what's more important, the visual look or the message behind it?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I know for myself, I go by the motto of, like, I make art for the sake of making art. I'm not here trying to make this profound message in the long run, especially in my earlier stuff, which was a lot more still lifestyle driven. But right now with the story, like the stories that I'm developing, like this guy right behind me is just it's a little more story driven. When you look at the piece, you're going to see, okay, there's characters, there's movement going on. What's that? But I never like to tell the viewers of the art, like, this is the exact story that it is, and you don't see that in there, then you're wrong. I like leaving that stuff up for interpretation because it's always great to see how others interpret the art, because it might be something that I didn't specifically see in the long run. And I really love that aspect of art too. So that's one
Okay,
of the best
so
parts.
yeah. So you've built a whole platform helping artists with taxes and the business side. What's it like seeing your community grow?
It's been fantastic. I'm just shy of hitting 2,000 over on TikTok. I just hit 500 over on YouTube, which was great. So seeing the response of people that are viewing my content and really coming away from it, like, I love just opening the app and seeing, like, 5 new comments of, like, I really needed to hear this today. Thank you for being there. Um You have no idea what this meant to me. And like I think that aspect of it has been really fantastic. So just knowing that what I'm helping people with is actually being a meaningful thing for them as a part of their day.
So, Michael, what is the most important piece of business advice that you teach new artists?
Uh, Write down everything you spend your money on. Keep your receipts, whether they're digital or paper, because when tax time comes, if you've made over a certain amount of money, the IRS is going to come knocking. So prepare yourself. Learn Excel. That's the best thing I've found to help out. That is like one of the weird, like artistic tools that has been a major part of my artistic process because I can maintain like my inventory, I can maintain my follower count and projections and all my tax, all my spending, all my income from stuff that I've done with my art.
Okay, now you make short videos every day. What exactly is your process for creating those?
I tend to change up the video style every day because I want to keep things fresh. I don't want it to be stagnant of just like, oh, it's the same thing over and over again. So sometimes it's me researching just silly memes and trends because I want to have some fun with this too, not just be constantly like, hey, let me remind you of this. There's script writing that goes into that to also make sure that, I'm hitting the message and I'm hitting the marks on the things that I want to say to my viewers. And then there's also the aspect of, being sure I'm responsive in the comments. I show up, I make sure that whenever somebody comments, I'm responding within the day. And sometimes even getting ideas to make videos from those comments too, which has been really great. And one of the features I love about doing the social media is being able to just respond
So,
to those.
what's your favorite video or piece of art that you've made so far?
The video, I had one video really pop off on TikTok, got me over 13,000 views, which I was unexpected, and it was not a serious video. It was a silly little trend video with, a clip from a System of a Down song, and it just resonated with everyone and got companies like Crayola and Paint Puck and the Please Touch Museum to actually comment on it, and it blew my mind. Like, it's one of those things waking up, checking my note. Like, I wake up, roll out of bed, check my notifications, and I see that Crayola commented on the video. And it's, I've only been doing the Philly Art Dad platform for 2 years. So to like have that happen is insane.
That's crazy. So, what's the hardest part about being both a creator and an educator online?
I think it's balancing the time spent actually, creating the work and making sure I produce the content as well. So it's find that balance between the two.
So, who is someone that really inspired you to work hard in art?
So this goes back to a previous thing I said about my elementary school teacher. Her name's Beth Yoder. She was my elementary school art teacher, and she is the one who really fostered my love of art from a very early age. So much so that even when I find the time, I end up going back to my hometown and visiting her at school and spending time. She teaches in the high school now in the same school district, but like I make it a point of time to visit her because she is a person that has meant a lot to me in my creative growth and essentially bringing me where I am today. It's honestly because of her I went to get my art education degree in the first place and why I'm still being an art educator in a sense now.
So, when an artwork doesn't go as planned or you try to blow it up, how do you fix it?
Sometimes you don't. And that's a honest truth. Sometimes you abandon pieces and they sit in the studio for days, weeks, months, years. I had a piece that when I moved twice with the same piece, and I just recently decided it's been sitting here and I'm not going to use it. Sometimes you just sit the piece off to the side and come back to it later. Because a lot of times it might just not be the thing you need to create right now or that you need to be working on.
So, what's the coolest new art trend that you're using right now?
I don't know if I do any like actual trends in art, I very much like to make work that I enjoy because I like it. I try not to make art for other people. I make work for myself and try to find the people who are going to resonate with that as well. That's a really important thing for me because I don't want to just make work that I don't enjoy.
That makes sense. So, why would a kid listening today want to grow up and do your job?
The freedom to do what you want, which has been awesome. Like right now, I get to work in the comfort of my home. I get to paint what I want. I get to showcase with some other amazing artists. I get to meet some amazing artists too that I call friends. I have two artist friends who literally live up the street from me. We show at the same gallery, and when I first one of them, his name's Paul Romano, and it dawned on me that I've known this guy's artwork for a while because he did album artwork for one of my favorite metal bands, Mastodon. And like I own that album. I've seen that artwork. And you're telling me you painted that and you now live like 6 blocks up the road from me in the same city? That's insane. So, yeah, there's a lot of hard things. Like you're not going to do a lot of you got to split that time between the actual creation and being a business person and running your business, but there are some cool connections you get to make as an artist at galleries with gallery owners, collectors, and other artists that I would not trade for the world right now.
Well, on that note, let's do a quick break to pay some bills.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of their dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering to trophies and awards. The cool part about Custom Designs is they can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373 and tell them that
Tiberius
sent you.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And we are back here with Michael Weaver, multimedia artist, educator, and the internet's art dad. So, Michael, what are some of the skills a teen should be working on now if they want to become an artist someday?
For the creative side, focus on the basics. Like I said, I did actually teach a little bit. I was a substitute teacher. Did a lot of art subbing for art teachers. And one of the things that I've always seen, and it's been a constant, is a lot of kids, and like myself included, and other ones when I was growing up, they focus in on one thing they want to draw. Like I know for me, the trend was like, I want to draw anime or manga, and like I love that. Don't get me wrong, I love watching that stuff. It's cool, but you're not going to learn anything right away from jumping into the deep end. Trying to do that, it's going to hurt you in the long run. Learning how the actual body works, anatomy, perspective, a lot of these basic things, like they sound boring, they
Yeah.
are, but they're the foundational building blocks of creativity, and you're going to need them in the long run.
Yeah, I want
I'm
to
not-
start a YouTube channel and like do some like silly animations or something. I was like,
right?
I need to figure out how the anatomy of the body works. I
Is that
tried
you wanna
jumping into
jump
it, it
into that
didn't
deep
work.
Like just like any kid, like when you want to swim, you go to the deep end because that's where the fun happens. But you got to be
Yeah.
in the shallow end, building up those skills so you can survive the deep end.
Yeah. So, how does art actually make the world a better place?
I feel like traditional art, in a sense, it's a weird thing. Like it's a luxury object, but like having a painting in your house, like you buy that and it sits there and you look at it. But one of the things I feel a lot of people forget, and when like a lot of critics of the art come around, art encapsulates so much. Without art, you would not have cartoons, you would not have movies, you would not have theater, you would not have music, all that creativity that some people want to dismiss or whatnot builds a lot of what we enjoy in the world, and a lot of that art puts that enjoyment into the world. Like, I feel like when we use the term artist, we think like, yes, I paint pretty pictures and it's great. But being an artist is so much more, like animators, video game designers, like without artists, everyone would just be doing accounting.
So, what
So,
is that one moment in your career that you didn't expect but taught you something big?
ooh. I definitely think starting this Philly Art Dad platform was a big moment for me, just figuring out the actual like everything with social media. Like I had an Instagram, like I'm gonna date myself here. Like back in college, I had a Facebook, and when it first came out, I even had a MySpace page. So like, and I'm no problem. I just celebrated 40 this year, and like, there's a lot that I learned and a lot I would not change. But the social media platform and the aspect of social media in how it is used by creatives is super important. I've also learned that there are some like not to take myself too seriously with social media because there are a lot of artists I see on the platforms that are just like, I am a serious artist and I am this ethereal being. And it's like, nah, be yourself. Just be yourself.
It's like,
And I'm
nah,
just
bro.
like, I'm letting you know now, this is hard. Like I'm putting my radio because I did college radio. I'm putting my college radio filter on because I am a very crass Philly living man. So I'm like, no, this is a kid's show. I gotta preface. But
Well,
yeah.
Michael, do you think AI and technology will help
Ooh.
artists or take away opportunities?
I'm gonna point out first off, I read through the questions first off, and like well thought out questions on your end.
Thank you.
I am a strong proponent against generative AI in creative spaces. This is not just like art, but music, film, any of that stuff. I understand AI as a tool, and I will argue that like AI in some aspects, like if I can get AI to do my taxes, and a lot of this boring stuff that as an artist I don't enjoy doing as much, but is a necessary evil, I'm all for it. But please keep AI out of creativity because a lot of these generative AI models are built on the
Creativity.
the theft of actual human artists. One of my fellow artists, Kelly McCurdy, she's actually part of a major lawsuit against Midjourney and these. If you were to search her name right now in Google, pictures of her artwork would come up. But the first real one that is from her would be like the fifth entry, and the first four are all generative AI recreations of that. And it's been eating into her bottom line as an artist. And when, as artists, we don't have regular income that comes in, we are beholden to galleries who sell our shows. If we're doing festivals and selling art, like if we have a great day and we bring in a lot of money, great, but that's not a guarantee. So having AI make these recreations and eating into that bottom line, it's a no-go from me. Um, so yeah, I don't approve of it. I don't like it. You're never gonna see me use AI for my creativity.
So, if a kid watching right now wanted to get, their hands into like creating art, what would be their very first step?
Buy a small notebook or a sketchbook. Like I have this one, I have even a smaller one, something that you can bring with you. Like I said, I talked about learning the basics earlier, but making the act of drawing or creating accessible at any time of the day, I think is a big thing. And this is not just for kids, this is for adults who are trying to like get back into art. Having just a tiny sketchbook and a pencil on hand at all times just makes it easy because you can just be sitting down and instead of scrolling your phone or TikTok or anything, you can pick this up, draw what you see out in the world. And I think that's a great way just to make the act of creating a habit.
So, on your off time, what do you like to do for fun?
Beyond wrangling a 3-year-old, when I do have actual time for myself, yeah, that's like I may not be a full-time dad anymore, but I'm still a dad.
Yeah.
But I do like I am a nerd at heart. I love things like I love music. I'm a avid vinyl record collector. That's something I got from my dad. I love board games, TTRPGs. Like I got introduced to Dungeons and Dragons back in college, and like I love
Okay.
that kind of stuff. I love miniature wargaming, especially another avenue for my creativity. Like my current obsession is Marvel Crisis Protocol, and I paint minis in my off time. And my kid is a huge Spider-Man fan, so he got me some Spider-Man minis for my birthday. But things like that, things that I can still express my creativity, and sometimes stuff that's just for the fun of it.
Yeah, so earlier you mentioned that AI and art and stuff is gonna take over some video game stuff. Like you mentioned, artists and video games are a big deal. But
They
what's
are.
your favorite video game? And if so, what's your favorite one?
My current obsession right now is I've gotten back into Fallout 76. I love the entire Fallout series. I was a big advocate, like, oh, I hate Fallout 76. It's not a mainline game, it's all online. And then they released like 30 new things of free content, and I'm like, I guess I'll try it. And it's like,
It's amazing. It's just amazing.
it's been fun. But like I've been playing Spider-Man on the PlayStation. Like I'm down for everything. I will say like the one main through line, Fallout 76 being the exception, because I'm just a big fan of Fallout. I like single player games. I'm not a huge online gamer. I like the story. I like I want to experience the story that the creators, the developers have given me. I don't want to go and listen to a bunch of, no offense, teenagers in the lobby just spitting out curses and slurs at me while I'm fumbling around. I want to enjoy the game on my own time.
Then I would suggest a game. It's called Hollow Knight and Hollow Knight Silksong.
I am very familiar with them. I actually think I have Hollow Knight. I haven't
I
gotten so far yet.
love it. I've beaten both of
I'm not a
them.
huge platformer, which I understand Hollow Knight is sometimes. Actually, no,
Yeah.
that's less of a platformer, more of like a roguelite, I'd say. But yeah, no, trust me, that's on my to playlist. Like one of the sad things with PlayStation Network is like, hey, buy this and get all these free games. And I have a massive backlog of games that I haven't played yet. And then like I just bought Spider-Man because my kid is a huge Spider-Man fan, and I've been playing that. And I didn't need to buy it because I have a whole catalog of other games I want to play as well.
But okay, back to the serious questions.
Yeah,
But
gotta have
what
fun.
was the biggest mistake that you've ever made? And how did it change you as a person?
Um, so this is a bit more serious. Trusting certain people. I've come to sadly learn that while I am on like with Philly Art Dad, one of my biggest things is I am trying to garner and foster a very supportive community of artists. We don't gatekeep information. We share as much as we can. Mental health and checking in with everybody is a huge thing with my community. And I've sadly learned that not everyone feels that way. And in the Philly art scene, sadly, there have been a few people who have been genuine. Like this is right where I want to use, as SpongeBob would say, those sentence enhancers that we are not going to use. Um, just some absolute horrible people who feel that they have their say in who gets to belong in the art community. And I think the biggest mistake was trusting them to begin with and not addressing the red flags that were popping up as I was in this kind of friendship or at least acquaintanceship with these people. So just being careful who you decide to spend your time with has been a big thing. I got out of that and I made sure to distance myself from them. So
Yeah.
the mistake has been resolved, but being in that situation and seeing how, like, not addressing how they were treating others in the art community before made me wish I actually said something sooner.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, can you tell me
Serious
that
mistake.
one story? Remember, this is a kid's show. But that one story, well, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on. You can tell me. I know I won't tell anyone.
Oh man. Oh geez.
But remember, it's a kid show.
I know. I'm running through my mind palace trying to pull out which one is like good, but like it's a juicy one, but it's still appropriate-ish. I think though, like one of the things I love, I mean, it's a kid show. One of the things I love was the drink and draws here in Philly. There's a bar called Tattooed Moms, and it's great. Some of the best conversations I've had with people, gallery owners, artists, and just being in that setting, um, having fun, having a blast, having having my first citywide special in there in the scene with the other artists was an absolute thrill. And when you grow up and you are able to consume, I highly recommend just finding a community that you jive with. And those drink and draws are some honestly fantastic memories that I have with being just starting out in the Philly art scene. Like super cool.
Well, do you have a Facebook website or a TikTok for my listeners and what to follow you?
I do. I have like I assume all of those. My website, you can find me at michaelweaverart.com. Has my portfolio, it has my online shop, things like that. On Facebook, it is Michael Weaver Art as well. Facebook and Instagram, Michael Weaver Art. I need to change them over. But on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch, you can find me as Philly Art Dad, where I will be I post all the videos to all my platforms where I will be dispensing out artistically fatherly advice, not only just the stuff that art school doesn't teach you, but mental health check-ins and just anything and everything. And like I said, I go live regularly Monday through Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday on TikTok. Tuesdays are Twitch and Thursdays are YouTube from 10:30 a.m. to like 12:30 p.m. Depending on how good the conversation goes, it might go later. And you can find me there, and I always welcome people to come into those lives as well, and even in the comments of the videos and ask questions because I try to be as responsive as possible. And even if I don't know the answer to a question, I make it a point to at least try to point you in the right direction to get the answers that you need at that time.
Okay, now what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
Ooh, you again, kudos to you for the questions. It is chef's kiss. You covered a lot. Um, I really don't know. Like I said, you covered it, especially with the AI. Like that's so poignant right now, with everything that's going on. Um, like I said, I think the one I don't know if we missed it or not, but I think the one piece of like one of my favorite quotes. I love one of those questions. But a favorite quote of mine that I love has honestly driven me in doing my creativity by an artist named Ezra Croft, and I actually pulled it up because I'm like I need to remember this because this is one of those things, and it's people need art in their houses. They don't need Bed Bath and Beyond dentist office art. They need weird stuff. And I read that quote is like jived with me throughout the majority of my career. It's even kind of become part of like my digital sign off at the end of videos. I always love to like dispense the information and just as my reminder, it's like, hey guys, as always, stay weird, art kid, because it's so important that we don't shy away. Like we like the need to be normal. It's like no, foster that weirdness, really like lean into it and let that be part of your creativity because what's going to be great is, and we talked about this before, um you create art for yourself, and in your weirdness and in your creativity, that's you're going to find people who resonate with your stuff no matter what, no matter how weird, no matter how off the cuff it is. People are going to resonate with what you create as an artist and show up.
Well, thank you, Michael, for being my special guest. Can you stick
Absolutely.
around for Math Corners?
Absolutely.
Aw, Dad, Dad, my computer's slow again and I can't play my games.
Call your computer solutions today, and we will scan for viruses and clean that computer up remotely and make it fast again. Our phone number is 407-826-0810.
Thanks, Dad. My computer's fast again. Now I can do my homework. Thanks for calling your computer solutions at 407-826-0810.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
And now it's time for Math Corners. Thank you so much, Michael, for helping me with Math Corners. This week, we're just on multi-step word problems. My dad is always good at finding new problems for me to solve. And since you're an artist who works with paint and embroidery thread, well, this one should be right up your alley. Today, we're going to talk about preparing the supplies for a new multimedia art project. Hey, you ready? You ready for this, Michael? Okay.
Do it.
Tommy is creating a new embroidered painting project. He needs acrylic paint, embroidery thread, and canvas panels. Each bottle of acrylic paint costs $6 each. Each bundle of, embroidery thread costs $4 each. And each canvas panel costs $10 for this project. So he needs 8 bottles of acrylic paint, 15 bundles of embroidery thread, and 3 canvas panels. How much money does he need to buy to get all the supplies?
Oh, this is why I use Excel. It does the math for me.
It does do the math for you. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, first, this is a real world problem because artists like Tommy use math all the time to budget their projects. And, to make sure that they don't run out of materials right in the middle of creating. So, first, you have to multiply the cost of each supply type for the paint. So 8 times 6 is 48. For the thread, it's 15 times 4, which is 60. And then for the canvas panels, it's just 3 times 10, which is 30. Then finally, you just add them all together. 60 plus 30 is 90. Then you add 48, carry the 1, get $138. So Michael would have to pay all that money for the supplies for the entire mixed medium project. That may sound like a lot, but when you're making a really cool embroidered painting, you've got to get good materials, and hopefully you can actually make a profit.
I want to know what store you're going to that you get supplies so cheap.
Well, so, Michael, do you ever have to make budgets like this for your real projects?
Absolutely. You need to know how much you're paying, and especially like when it comes to tax time, you got to know like where your receipts are and how much you actually put in. So it's always about budgeting and making sure you have the materials you need, but also paying a decent amount.
Well, my teachers always say that I'll use math every day. How do you use math in your work as an artist?
Well, like I said, I use Excel to do a lot of the math for me, but I end up using it not only for calculating the price of artwork, but also making sure I can manage my projections for followers on my social medias, even when tax time comes, making sure I have the right percentage of taxes I need to pay and minusing the deductions. So there is a lot of math that goes on in the real world, even for a creative career like mine.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, for your help with Math Corners. And now it's time for the Heart of a Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the heart of a lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. This week, we're going to talk about integrity. For me, I think integrity is doing what is right, even when no one else is looking. The qualities of integrity is honesty, sincerity, truthfulness, and fairness. At school, a bunch of kids were playing with the class markers during free time. When the bell rang, everybody ran to the line to, line up. Except I noticed one of the new markers had fallen on the floor and rolled under their desk. Nobody saw it, not even the teacher, was watching. I mean, not the other kids, it was just me. Now, I could have walked away. I mean, no one was watching, right? But then the teacher would think someone lost it or took it on purpose, and that didn't feel right. So instead of ignoring it, I stopped, grabbed the marker, and put it back in the supply bin, and then went to go line up. I mean, it took like an extra 5 seconds, but it felt good. It felt really good knowing that I did the right thing, even though no one knew I did it but me. And that's what integrity is. It's cleaning up even though you didn't make the mess. It's telling the truth even when lying would be easier. And it's finishing your homework the right way instead of rushing or copying too. I mean, it's also just being honest with yourself and not just other people. And integrity is like being your own referee. You can call the fouls on yourself. So remember, doing the right thing doesn't need an audience. Integrity makes you trustworthy, and integrity makes you strong. When you practice integrity every day, you become what's called lion strong. So, Michael, do you have an example of integrity that you saw this week?
I think integrity is actually one of the things I like to make it a point of in this Philly Art Dad thing. I want to make sure that I am sincere and truthful in the realities of what it takes to be an artist, but also like the sincerity of checking in with my community about not only like how they're doing, but like their mental health and just making sure that I'm always there for them and showing up potentially when no one else is for them. So that's my sense of integrity.
Well, we should always try to be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
Absolutely.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Michael Weaver for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking to you today. I think we learned a lot about all your work as a professional internet artist and on so many platforms.
Thank you.
Do you mind giving your social media and website again?
Absolutely. MichaelWeaver.com, MichaelWeaverArt.com, Michael Weaver Art on Instagram and Facebook, and Philly Art Dad on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch.
Well, also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show, and I would like to thank WWPR 1490 AM, K1998, Soul Radio 24/7, EasyWay TV, and all the other stations that air my show. And please be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Jeff? Wait, no, your name is not Jeff. Your name is Michael. So, Michael, are you subscribed yet?
I think so.
Okay, let's hope. I hope you check after the show.
I will check. I always do.
This week, Waffle House says, very smart thinking. And Ellie Bernadette says, oh, wow, this is very interesting. Well, Ellie, thank you so much for watching the show and sharing your thoughts with everyone. And be sure to leave a comment on my show, and I may even mention yours at the end of the show. So, be sure to listen to us next on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy. And that's a wrap.